Move to item 13 and resolution 2014-83. What's the pleasure of the board? Do we have speakers? Do we have speakers? Okay, let's move on to the speaker. All right. Ron Robles. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Marco Kawa. Now I can read it. Okay, Marco. Sorry. And just for the record, those people standing, I think, are in support, are they not, Ms. Cowan?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we come to you this morning to ask your support for a resolution calling on the Department of Homeland Security to administratively close the removal of Rosa Robles Loreto. I want to introduce to you her father and her mother, Francisco Robles and Teresa Loreto, her husband Gerardo, and her two lovely sons, Jose Emiliano and Gerardo. These two young men are honor students and they're baseball stars to boot. And this is Rosa. And Rosa can't be with us today because she's in sanctuary at the Southside Presbyterian Church. We come to you to ask for your support because it makes a difference. The Department of Homeland Security cares what we think in our local communities about people like Rosa. And she's lived in Tucson since 1999. She went back and forth to have her children with her mom in Hermosillo. So there were a couple of years, 2006 and 7, where she was coming and going. She's trained as a certified public accountant. In Tucson, she works as a maid. She works 2 jobs. She and Gerardo have always paid taxes. The package that we supplied for you had hundreds of signatures in support of our request and 50 or 60 letters written by individuals telling you what a wonderful person Rosa Robles is. The way this all happened was she was driving her employer's van and was going through a construction area, and it had the decals on for the cleaning company and that kind of thing. And she was stopped for a traffic infraction, and the policeman called the Border Patrol, and she was put into removal proceedings. I gave you a copy of a memorandum that John Morton gave to all of the Homeland Security employees in the summer of 2011. And this is important because what it says is consistent with the department's position and the president's position. We shouldn't be deporting people just because we can. We should focus. We should focus our immigration court resources on people that are priorities to deport. And if you look at page 4, Rosa Robles has many of the qualities that are listed on page 4. And unfortunately, her lawyer never asked that her case be closed. And so here we are. And the government says to us, well, she's not going to be a target. We're not going to go look for her. We're not going to go drag her out of her house at 4 o'clock in the morning. But we're also not going to give her a permit. We're not going to close her case. We're not going to stay her removal. So what that means is if a young officer does his job and makes another traffic stop and comes on Rosa Robles and looks at her immigration file, what he'll see is a final order of removal. And if he does his job, he'll have no choice but to take her and put her on a bus to Nogales before she's ever even able to say goodbye to these babies. So we're calling on the Department of Homeland Security to administratively close this case, do what should have been done a long time ago, give her to stay her removal and let her remain. You know, I want to share with you, as of last evening, 1,472 people in Tucson sent faxes and emails to Secretary Johnson at Homeland Security, and another 2,946 sent messages to the president. Additionally, petitions bearing the signatures of 3,341 people were delivered to the White House. You see today here people from diverse communities, from all of your districts, who've come together to say in Tucson, we keep families together. We don't let this happen. And I ask for your support. This is a good family. It makes a difference to the Secretary and to the Department of Homeland Security what we say in our communities about people who live here. This family works hard. You know, she's a Little League mom. She drives them to games. She works in the snack bar. This is an all-American family. These are people that we want to have in our communities. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Keith von Heineken.
Good morning, my name is Keith Van Heineken. I'm a Tucson resident. I remember a couple of years ago in front of the Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission, Richard was there talking about the illegal alien problem. We're here, we're not going anywhere. That's an implied threat. Now, if history doesn't haunt you and drive your actions, I pity the future. Because I've got 20 million brothers that are veterans. You can snicker all you want, old man, old woman.
Excuse me. Again, the rules of civility, sir.
And I have not used profanity. I will use my First Amendment rights. Thank you. And you need to cease and desist or prove that you are unfit to sit where you do. Sanctuary does not mean letting 30 to 100 million invaders over the next 10 years come into your country. That's what's going to happen. The weakness in our immigration system is simply the fact that we have weak politicians who don't want to uphold the law for one reason or another. History shows that when a people come to a point, they kind of snap as a people. Civilizations have fallen. You've got so many revolutions, civil wars. And why? It's because of weak leaders. That's all I see anywhere in this town. It's just the way it goes. Men aren't men anymore. Women aren't women anymore. Hopefully, you can read that little thing called the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. It's your right and your duty to defend your very life. And that's what we're talking about, the life of a country. Have a nice day.
Maya Castillo.
Maya Castillo, President, SCIU, Arizona. I just wanted to make some brief comments in support of Resolution 2014-83. Rosa, I spent some time looking through that massive packet of letters of support and signatures, and it occurred to me that Rosa isn't just someone who is well-liked in our community. She's incredibly loved, and she is a valuable asset to our community. And the other thing that occurred to me is that, you know, I've heard a number of times, you know, you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. And to have the opportunity to choose someone like Rosa to be part of my life. I think that's very important, and obviously so many people have chosen her, and she chooses them as well. She's just an incredible asset to our community, and I think it's really incredible that you all have chosen to put support for her and for her family on the agenda, and SEIU Arizona supports that effort wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo. Allison Harrington. Now, which one's Allison?
Hello, thank you all so much for allowing me to speak. My name is Allison Harrington. I'm the pastor of Southside Presbyterian Church. And this is my daughter, Julia. And it's not, well, so I speak to you as a community leader, as a religious leader, but also as a mom who would be heartbroken to see to be torn apart from my children. You know, I'm so appreciative of the actions of this body, the actions that you've taken, especially recently as you have voted to become an immigrant welcoming county. How proud I was of you all when you took that stand, when you said, I don't think you're supposed to clap. But
No. I was just to advise you. Thank you for doing it for me, Reverend.
You know, because that's what it means to be a people, to remember who we are, to not live with a rhetoric of fear, but to live rather by a narrative of love and welcome. And we're grateful that you all are looking at this proposal, and we just urge you to vote in support of it, because we really believe that if you all stand with Rosa, then we believe that not only will it send a strong message to her children, but also a strong message to our community and also to those who make decisions both in Phoenix and Washington, D.C. And so we're very happy to be here with you today and really and ask you to vote in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Wildbank.
She looks good, doesn't she? I'm Jim Wildbank. I'm the pastor at St. Francis in the Foothills United Methodist Church, and I come from a rather large family. There's 9 brothers and sisters and about 100 kids and grandkids. And it is hard to get them all together, but it is hard to get us together because we choose to be apart sometimes, and we choose where life leads us. Rosa is not choosing, and it should never be a governmental policy to separate families and not give them the choice to be together. It should never be a governmental policy to keep a mother away from her children, away from her husband. And so I ask you to support this. I ask you to look at the love in your heart for your family and extend it to her as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Christopher Cole.
I was expecting a lot more people to speak before I was going to be called. My name is still Christopher Cole, and I still reside in Tucson. As I've mentioned to at least one of you, probably all of you, my opinion on the immigration law is that if you want to come to the United States of America, you go to your consulate, you get a health check to make sure you've got nothing communicable, you get a background check to make sure you're not a criminal, and you're handed a visa. That's my opinion.
Oh, please, again, civility. I understand you don't agree, but let's be civil.
That is not only my opinion, but I believe it is the official position of the Pima County Libertarian Party, the Libertarian Party of the state of Arizona, and the Libertarian Party of America. We are, as the cliche goes, a nation of immigrants. Even the first people that arrived here 25,000 years ago or whatever were immigrants. the immigration law that is put her in a church is not in accordance with the principles of America, not in accordance with the principles that I spent most of my adult life defending. And so I'm going to say, support this resolution. Thank you.
Reverend Tom Herman, that's our last speaker. I guess not.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. A few months ago, I had the honor of speaking before you in support of your resolution for making our county a immigrant-friendly community. And I want to again, as with everyone else, thank you for that bold effort that you did. It's been very important. And I'm hoping you'll continue that tradition by supporting Rosa. Speaking as a Catholic and a person who's worked a lot in immigration issues through the years in the various parishes that I've had the privilege of working in, we have always been concerned about the unity of families. It's our main concern. I know our bishop has worked with many other ecumenical leaders both here and in Washington, D.C., trying to represent that fact and that side of how we need to reform our immigration system. And it's getting, as you know, to be pretty interesting. We had a case not long ago where a woman was pulled over because she had a rosary hanging around her mirror, and I guess that was illegal or something, and then she wound up in Eloy, separated from her family and everything else. I'm not sure what happened with that case, so I apologize for that. But what we're asking you to do is to take a stand saying that this is the reason why we need reform. We need to have a humane policy. We need to have a policy that speaks to us as a people, as a community, as a nation, as we've heard, of immigrants. People who come from many journeys. I'm an immigrant myself, coming from Canada. So we all have this rich tradition in our community. And sadly, Rosa is a victim of a system that is so broken that it's going to be very difficult to correct and fix. But we can do one thing. We can help her. We can say to our nation and to our community that families are the most important thing. They are the building blocks of our communities, and we need to support them wherever we can. Especially a family like this that has worked so hard, that is really truly abided by the laws and the traditions of our country. And I think you heard it as well. They would be welcomed in most any place just because of the kind of quality people they are. So I urge you and pray that you will support us in this effort, that we can send that important statement to ask the government to do the right thing. You're going to focus on removal, focus on those who are truly a danger to our society, but help those who really are contributing to our society. Thank you very much.
Charles Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the supervisors. I had not planned on speaking today, but apparently it's necessary in some people's eyes to say that they're a veteran. I am a veteran. I love my country, but I also love the people here. And I want to remind us of a law or urging that goes way back further than our Constitution. It's in a common book used by Christians and Jewish people alike. It's from the book of Leviticus. One place, I'm not going to have it written, but one place in Leviticus, several places, it says, be kind or be aware of orphans, widows, and aliens. It seems that's always tied in there. But I want to read something from Leviticus 19:33-34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you are a foreigner in Egypt. I am the Lord, your God. Rosa is not a foreigner at this point. She's been here since 1999. She is now our neighbor. And another part says what? Love your neighbor as yourself. And I plead with you, please allow Rosa to stay with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's it. And can I get you, when you're done, to fill the front of this out with your name and address? And I'll give it to you.
I'm going to try to be short. The last two speakers said much of what I would like to say. And I'm not a veteran. I was a conscientious objector, but I have a lot of pride. I want to add one thing. I have a lot of problems with the concept of border, but I will, for the most part, abide by it. But this is one planet. And Rosa deserves, and her family deserves better. And one person in particular, I'm not going to get into it, but some things that were said as a human being embarrasses me. And I feel as a people and as a group here, I hope that you will stand with us and support Rosa and her family and all of us who are working for migrants. I met many migrants from Central America and they're wonderful people. And how people can think people would travel all that distance without a need. It's surprising, but please support this resolution.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers. Supervisor Valadez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I placed this agenda because, or on the agenda today, because I had memories going back to the late 1980s, and I had a chance to relive them the other day with John Five. I remember the first day at a time I went to go visit Southside Presbyterian Church, and at the time I was working for a U.S. Senator, as you recall, John. And I remember also the many persons that I went to college with that came into this country throughout with those kinds of issues. Now, having said that, I would also say immigration does have a job to do, and it's a tough job. But the truth of the matter today is that we've got a member of our community who has been a huge contributor not only to the life of her children, her husband, her families, but to her neighborhood, and frankly, to Pima County. When I talked about the tough job immigration has to do, they have a heck of a job. That job is to protect us all, to protect us from folks that want to come to this country and do harm. Having said that, I think Ms. Cowan talked a little bit about the prosecutorial discretion. And as I read the memo, I noticed that Margo, you're absolutely right. Rosa fits many of the categories here for the exercise of prosecutorial discretion. And I certainly want to encourage immigration to follow that. Now, it was said earlier that it is weakness on the part of leadership of this community that we embrace immigrants, that we believe that immigrants not only are welcome here, they play a part, they're integral part. Well, you know what? I think Mr. Cole was absolutely right. We are a nation of immigrants, and it is not weakness, but strength that has given us. It shows strength of leadership that we're willing to make sure that our arms are always open to those people who are willing to come to our country and be a part of our great nation. Ultimately, that's really what today is about for me. It's why I put it on the agenda. It's why now I move that we approve item number 13 of resolution number 2014-83.
Motion. Motion and a second. Any discussion for the
Madam Chair.
discussion? Supervisor Elias.
I thank Supervisor Valadez for those strong words that he just committed to the record, and for placing this item on our agenda. It's very important for all of us. I commend him for that. Supervisor Valadez is a first-generation immigrant, and we're very proud to have him sitting on this board as supervisor. But it's time for all of us to take a hard look at the folks who live around us and recognize that immigrants, whatever their status is, are assets to this nation. Rosa's family is an asset to this nation. And, you know, I come from one of those Chicano families that's been here for a long time, you know, got 1776, you know, the first elitist came around here, you know. Some people wish we would go. But like many of the residents of District 5, the border crossed us, we didn't cross the border. So people here in this part of the country, this part of the borderlands, have a different understanding of how things work and how we share each other's lives and how we share each other's family and how the productivity that we create helps us all raise the standard of living that we share. There's nothing wrong with any of that. And President Obama needs to hear these words. And he needs to heed this resolution that we're about to vote on. And all of us who are people of faith need to think about it very carefully, because we should be supporting this today, together. Because it's time for all of us to be together. Enough words. I just thank you all for coming out today and being strong and supporting Rosa and her family and supporting this resolution. And, you know, we are going to survive this thing and be stronger because of it all.
Any further discussion by board members? Again, I want to thank the audience for coming today. Appreciate your civility, and with that, I'll ask if there are any objections. One objection. Any further objections? Hearing none, motion carries.